Hi everyone, my name is Julie Boyer, and I'm going to be leading you through the Get Your Healthy Back Nutrition Seminar tonight. Before I get started, a little bit about me. I've actually been working in health and nutrition for 9 years now, and I've been partnered with USANA Health Sciences for all of that time. And I've taken hundreds of clients through the programs and the strategies that you'll learn about tonight. I am actually a former Ironman triathlete. I've competed in 3 full Ironman triathlons. And everything that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening is something that I've either gone through myself or that I've coached my clients to do. Sorry, just closing the window because it was really loud outside. So this program, this Get Your Healthy Back seminar, has actually helped probably around 100 people so far since October. We've been doing these live, and this is the first time I've actually done a webinar. And the reason is it's very long and interactive. So I will ask you on occasion to write something in the chat box or ask some questions just to make it more interactive for everybody. And for those who are watching the webinar recording, that's great. And feel free to, you can message me questions through Facebook, or the person who invited you to watch this webinar can also answer your questions. Okay, so let's get started. So here we are. It's actually the beginning of June 2015 when I'm recording this. And we are already 5 months through the year. So I'm just curious if you guys have actually set health goals for 2015. If you have, just put a little yes in the chat box for me. Or even New Year's resolutions that maybe didn't last very long. Okay, amazing. So whatever your health goals may be, whether it's about losing weight for good, having more energy, or improving your fitness level, or even just strengthening your immune system, we will talk about how you can achieve your health goals today. So before I go any further, I want you to ask yourself right now, today, whenever I'm watching or listening to this, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 means I have not enough energy to get out of bed in the morning, and where 10 means that I'm in the best health of my life, where do you see yourself right now? You don't have to post it. You can if you like. Amazing, Terry. Terry sharing she's a number 8. Helen as well. Fantastic. So wherever you are today, what we're going to try and do between now and the end of the seminar is to get you from an 8 to a 9 or 9.5 to a 10. I know, Mike, that's amazing. Wherever you are, we're going to work on getting you just that little bit further so you can be in your best health. Sound good? So getting your healthy back. Doesn't really matter whether you are just turned 30, you are in your late 30s, not quite 40 yet, just turned 50, or not quite 60, or if you are sexy Andre Gordon, you can get your healthy back at any age, any gender, and anywhere you are right now on your scale of 1 to 10. So Andre Gordon here, just to give you a little bit of his story, he actually was introduced to the program, the USANA program that we're going to talk about 3 years ago, and he is a Hollywood actor, director, and producer, and he has an extremely busy lifestyle, and he had gained some weight for a role and was not able to lose it. And so he was introduced to this program and actually lost weight, and he kept it off, and he's kept it off ever since. And not only that, he's actually been able to build a business alongside all the things he does. He's also a dad. He has 2 young girls. He's married, lives in LA. Like, it's a crazy lifestyle, but super accomplished guy. So I just want you to know, however busy your lifestyle is right now, you can find a way to get your healthy back. So the pillars of success for our program are really simple. Number 1 is stress management. Number 2 is soothing sleep. Number 3 is sensual skin. Number 4 is sexy movement. Number 5 is simple nutrition. And number 6 is smooth digestion, all built on a foundation of optimal supplementation. So first we're going to talk about what happens in your body, what happens to your cells at the cellular level. Now, many of you have probably heard of free radicals and oxidation before, but I'm just going to give you an example in case it's not really clear what I mean by free radicals and oxidation. So when you have a car, an older car especially, so we had an old Buick, a 2004 Buick, great car, nothing wrong with it. except the rest. It started to rust, and you know how it is with an old car, the pieces of rust start falling off. And that's due to exposure to oxygen, exposure to toxins in our environment from acid rain that causes it to rust. The same thing happens when you take an apple and you slice it in half and expose it to oxygen. It will turn brown. It will oxidize. So what's really important is, what can we do to protect ourselves from oxidation? What can we do to protect ourselves from this happening in our own bodies? Because it happens every single day. That's the reason we age. That's the reason we get degenerative diseases. So with an apple, if you squeeze a lemon on top of that apple, it will keep it from turning brown as quickly. There's vitamin C in that lemon that's an antioxidant that will protect that apple. So for us, to prevent that rusting from the inside out, we want to have lots of antioxidants in our diet. We want to eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, like all the colors of the rainbow, because antioxidants from fruits and vegetables are our best source. But here's the thing. If I eat a super healthy diet, I have a rainbow on my plate every single day, why would I need optimal supplementation? That's a really good question. And one that I asked myself when I first looked at taking supplements. Why do I need them? I eat really healthy. Well, there's many reasons. One is that our soils are depleted. Even our organic soils do not have all the vitamins and minerals that we need in our food. And that's the thing. If it's not in the soil, you're not going to be able to get it in your food. Now, organic farming is helping to replenish our soil, but so much of what we eat comes from depleted soil that it's very mineral deficient. In fact, if you wanted to get the same amount of vitamin C from an orange from 1950, you'd have to eat 8 oranges today to get the same amount of vitamin C. Some of our fruits and vegetables don't even have any vitamins and minerals compared to what they did 50 years ago. So it has really changed. And the other thing is travel. So not only are we traveling and stressing our own bodies through travel and time zones and things like that, our food travels. So bananas, when they arrive at the grocery store, I'm sure you've seen this, they are green, they are hard, and they have to be sprayed with a chemical to allow them to ripen, or they would never ever ripen. Now, if you've ever traveled to the tropics, the taste of a banana that's come off a banana tree is not the same at all. Fruits and vegetables get their last little bit of nutrients at the very end, just before they ripen. So when our fruit is picked before it ripens, unfortunately, we're missing out on those vitamins and minerals, even if they're organic. Our packaged and processed lifestyle. So here's the thing. I do eat really healthy. That has been a 9-year journey for me to get where I am today. But I still sometimes pick up things out of packages. I just don't have time sometimes to make the best choice. And so even though there's very little packaged and processed food in my own home, I know that for a lot of people this is a big struggle. And so getting away from packaged and processed lifestyles, because they're so devoid of nutrients. We're not feeding ourselves. The other big thing is prevention. There are thousands of studies that show that taking vitamins and minerals can actually help prevent degenerative diseases. And one of the reasons behind this is because inflammation, which happens at the cellular level, vitamins and minerals can actually help to reduce inflammation in our bodies. And that's what we're going to try and do tonight. We're going to try so many different ways to reduce inflammation. And the last thing is our exposures to chemicals and pollution. As much as we try and reduce our exposure to chemicals and pollution every single day, we are exposed to them, whether it's from the chemicals in our new car, whether it's even just from washing our cars or the products we're using to clean our homes, even though I know many people today are using clean products or natural products, or they're making their own cleaning products. The pollution's in our water, the pollution in the air, you just cannot get away from it. So yes, we could perhaps move to Chile where we can get our fresh bananas. And it's true, like when you live, it's interesting. I'm just going to add a little point for one moment. I was talking to a few friends this week who talked about what a lifestyle is in France, and it's really different because the food there is local. Most of what you eat is local, especially in the smaller cities in Provence and stuff. You go to the market every couple of days because you're eating so much fresh fruit. Even the bread there is really different than bread here. We live a very different lifestyle here in North America. It's changing, and we're part of that change, but know that, there's really a case for supplementation across the globe. So these are just some of the benefits of supplementation, as you can see. So we're boosting our immunity, reducing our stress, definitely helping to prevent chronic degenerative diseases through reducing inflammation, helping our energy and increasing our mood, or improving our mood, and better sleep. So before I go any further, I mentioned at the beginning that I was partnered with USANA Health Sciences. And what I want to share with you right now is that with all of our pillars of nutrition, I'm going to share with you solutions that are free or inexpensive that you can do right now in your home. And then after that, I'm going to share with you the USANA supplement solution that I've either used myself or with my clients that helps to accelerate the process for you to feel your best. So USANA is the product partner that I've chosen. I've been working with them, like I said, for 9 years, and one of the reasons is the quality behind the product. Supplements in Canada are regulated to supplement grade levels. USANA does a pharmaceutical grade level. So especially in the US, which is even less regulated than in Canada, pharmaceutical grade means you're getting a product that what's on the label is in the bottle every single time, guaranteed. So you are getting the absolute best product for you and your family. The other thing is that the products are manufactured in an FDA-approved facility. So the checks and balances that occur when you have a pharmaceutical drug, the same thing happens in USANA, the same quality. We just had a back order on one of our favorite products. It's called Rev3. It's a drink. It's an healthy alternative to an energy drink. And the product was in Canada, but they could not release it until the testing had been done in our labs in Salt Lake City to confirm that what was in the can, this is a drink, people, was on the label. Like the quality is unmatched in this company. So they would not release this product for us to purchase until it had passed all of the quality assurance tests that needed to be done. So incredible. It is founded on science, based on science, founded by an incredible man, Dr. Myron Wentz, who is a double PhD in microbiology and immunology. His passion is the human cell, and he founded USANA in 1992 after becoming a world leader in cell culture technology, but he was diagnosing infectious diseases. And in the early 90s, having lost both his parents to degenerative disease, his mom to cancer, his dad to heart disease, he decided to switch his research and just change it to working to help prevent and reduce degenerative diseases, which, as we know, has grown exponentially, unfortunately, in the past 23 years. So I love that I can trust my health to USANA. The formulas are balanced. You know, when you go to the health food store and you get 10 different bottles of different things and you try and like make a plan that works for you, USANA's taking care of that. You could actually take every single thing in the entire supplement product line and never take too much of anything. So that to me is pretty amazing, that you can trust that you're getting what your body needs. It's also clinically proven. There are studies actually done on USANA products at a clinical trial level, peer-reviewed studies published in like natural medical journals, vitamins and supplement journals. So the research is there, and that's just really uncommon for a supplement company. This to me, though, is pretty darn incredible. So USANA has been working with Dr. Oz for the past 3 years, and in January, it was announced that USANA is now a trusted partner and sponsor of the Dr. Oz show. Now, you may or may not like Dr. Oz, and you may or may not believe in everything he says, and I don't either. I don't trust everything he tells me. I'm not going to do everything he says because I don't need, it's not just for me. 18 million people a week are watching the show, and the program is shown in over 180 countries. So he is a trusted health expert worldwide, and he has the best interest of you and I, the general population, at heart. So every month, one of the USANA products is featured on the show, and depending on when you're watching this, for those of you who are live, mark your calendars, because next Monday, June 8th, check your local listings. USANA's Biomega, so an ultra pure fish oil product, will be on the show, along with Caroline Wozniacki, who is a top WTA tennis player and a USANA athlete, will be sharing her story and her partnership with USANA on the Dr. Oz show. So I'm so excited for that. Okay, let's get into the pillars of health. So number one is stress management. So my to-do list, had to-do lists, had to-do lists, right? I'm so busy. I'm stressed about my finances. I'm stressed about my health. I'm caring for others. I'm stuck in that sandwich generation where I've still got children at home and I'm caring for elderly parents. And there's just never enough. There's never enough of me to go around. There's never enough money, and there's never enough time. For me, stress is always number one. Why? Because it's so sneaky. And it's so accepted that people walk around in a stressed life. And it's so, so damaging because what happens is being under stress elevates your cortisol levels. And cortisol is the hormone that actually causes inflammation. It's our stress hormone. So the more inflamed our body is, it can actually lead to things like a heart attack. So you seem everything seems fine. Your cholesterol is normal, but you have a heart attack because of all the inflammation that's going on at a cellular level. It also leads to anxiety. It can also be a huge factor in the inability to lose weight. When you're in a stress situation, your hormones are telling your body that they need to hang on to that fat because they're going to need that energy to run away from a bear. So when your hormones like adrenaline are high, like when you're in a really high stressful situation, when your adrenaline rises really fast, your body's preparing to run away from a bear. But except for recently, there was actually a bear in Toronto. There was a black bear in Toronto that ended very badly. But generally, who are not running away from bears, right? So what happens is that actually those hormones end up getting stored as fat in your body, and then you actually worsen your situation. And you're working out all the time, and you're eating right, and you don't know why you can't lose weight. And finally, it can really, really affect our sleep, which is a separate pillar in itself. How do you get your healthy back? Gratitude. So some of you may know that I've written a book called 30 Days of Gratitude, and I do my best to live each day from a place of a deep sense of gratitude. And one of the ways to actually get stress out of the way almost immediately is to stop and think of 3 things that you're grateful for right now. Gratitude completely grounds us in the present. The other thing you can do is breathe deeply. Now, when we do this live, I take everyone through an exercise to breathe really deeply, do some deep belly breathings where your belly goes out and in when you breathe out, the opposite of what most people do, which is breathe like this. So whether you're watching live or watching the recording, I just encourage you to take just a couple deep breaths, really shift gears, release any stress from the day, and just focus on being here right now. And then my next favorite strategy for releasing stress is to get outside in nature. So much easier to do now that the seasons have changed. So if you're in the middle of a stressful situation with your children, your spouse, your partner, your coworkers, your boss, excuse yourself, step outside into nature, look around, look at the sky, the stars, whatever, the sun is shining. Take 3 deep, deep belly breaths. And then out loud, say 3 things that you're grateful for. And I guarantee you that your stress level will decrease. It might not disappear completely, but it will decrease. The next point, shorter lists. If your to-do list has more than 3 things on it, you will not get it all done. So every day, your to-do list should have no more than 3 items on it that you can complete in that day. Listen, if you finish your 3 items, go ahead and create another list. But most people cannot do more than 3 items in one day. So what you should do is, especially if you have an item that's been on your to-do list for more than a week, here's what I recommend. You have a couple strategies. 1, take it off the list. That means delegate it to someone else because it's obviously not important enough for you to do. Or 2, if it is super important and you're just procrastinating on it, then you just make it number 1 on your list and you don't put anything else on your list until that thing is done. Definitely want to get more sleep to reduce our stress. We want to move more. And we want to learn to say no. This is really powerful, and this point has helped actually quite a few people that have seen this seminar. It's okay to say no. And here's a really neat way where you can learn to say no in a very kind and gracious way. If you have a vision for your life, if you've created a vision board, or you know where you want to go in the next 2, 3, 5 years, and someone asks you to participate in something or do something or go to an event, and it's not aligned with where you're going, it's super easy to say, listen, I really truly appreciate, the invitation, but it's just not aligned with where I'm going right now. And so I apologize, but I won't be able to attend, or I won't be able to help out with that, or I won't be able to, donate to your charity. Whatever it is, it's okay to say no. I'm giving you permission right now to learn to say no in a very kind and loving way. Okay, so if stress is your number one, let's talk about supplement recommendations for stress. So first, on the top right, you can see is the essentials. These are antioxidants and minerals. They are a complete solution for adults. You take 2 of each bottle twice a day, and it covers all of your bases. I mean all of your bases. Every single thing that you could need in a multivitamin and a mineral, and it's the number one rated product on the market today. Now, I do recommend, however, if the budget allows, to purchase the health pack, which has those essentials in it, but it has an additional calcium, magnesium, which can help with sleep, and an antioxidant booster that contains resveratrol, which again really helps reduce free radicals. So it's a very, very powerful product, and it's really easy to take because one pack says AM and one pack says PM. So the next thing you want to add for stress as well is our Proflavanol C100. That's the purple bottle. This is a combination of grapeseed extract and vitamin C in a little hybrid pill, so the two of them go together. One side's purple, one side's sort of light yellow, which is the vitamin C. And the two of these together have a very synergistic effect. So instead of taking them separately, when you put them together in one capsule, it's like 1 + 1 = 10. This is why this is the number one best-selling, what we call optimizer here in Canada. We love our Proflavanol here in Canada. And then the Biomega. The Biomega is a fish oil, as I said, the one that's going to be featured on the Dr. Oz show next week. It is double distilled process, so it's not going to have any heavy metals. It's actually from very, very small fish, anchovies, sardines, from marine sustainable sources, so we're not depleting the fish sources either. Number 2, soothing sleep. Let's hope that my little 4-year-old stays like this during this webinar. So the reality for many of us is this: we just don't get enough sleep. I usually ask how many hours of sleep you guys think we should get, and let's see if anybody can put in the chat box how many hours of sleep a night, for those who have not seen this before, should we get for everyone? 7, 8, 10. Ooh, Cynthia, I like where you're going with that. The truth is 8 for majority of people is the right amount. We have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, so we fall asleep, but we wake up around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Trouble getting out of bed in the morning. Our circadian rhythms are off. So instead of being tired at night, our hormones are so out of balance that we actually are wide awake at 11 o'clock at night and falling asleep at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And stressing our adrenals can really affect our sleep. So these are the 2 little glands that sit on top of your kidneys, and they regulate so many different hormones, including your stress hormones, including your sleep hormones. So the more that we are stressed out, we can end up in this form of adrenal fatigue. And actually what happens is that we're so tired, we just can't get out of it. And that's when you really need to see a specialist, like a naturopathic doctor, that can help you to get your adrenals back in line. But a lot can really actually make that better. Terry says, I'm only sleeping half that time. Yeah, Terry, we'll talk about some strategies on how to lengthen your sleep, because that's got to happen, okay? Because it ages you so quickly. This is what happens when you don't sleep. You walk around in a mental fog. Obviously, you're tired. You're irritable. You gain weight without knowing it. So you're like, why am I gaining weight? Nothing has changed. If you're not getting enough sleep, that can actually lead to weight gain. And strangely, related to hormones, when you don't get enough sleep, you wake up in the morning and have sweet cravings. And it's related to the hormones with cortisol and with melatonin and all the hormones that have to do with sleep. I don't know exactly how that works, to be honest, but I know I've experienced that myself, and many of my clients have. So I know if I didn't get enough sleep, that the next day I wake up and have my sweet cravings. So bizarre. Being dependent on caffeine. So caffeine can be helpful, but we don't want to be in a situation where we have to have our cup of coffee before we connect with anybody, or if you can't get through the day without that afternoon coffee. As Mike says, the 30-day whole body detox can really, really help change your sleeping habits as well. And premature aging, my goodness, no one wants to age prematurely. No, we want to preserve the sexy, baby. Right? I'm almost 40. Love it. Okay, as Sarah would say, I'm almost 80. No, I'm almost 40, and nobody really knows my age because I've been taking care of myself for 9 years. Okay, benefits of good sleep: mental clarity and alertness, really, really important. Weight loss. So sometimes just fixing someone's sleep can actually cause them to lose weight. Amazing. Definitely fewer cravings, and it helps with recovery. Olympic athletes will actually schedule their sleep into their calendar because all of their work happens while you're sleeping. So when you're in training, if you're training right now for anything like a half marathon or a Tough Mudder or something like that or triathlon, you especially need to get your sleep because all of the work you did with your working out happens while you're sleeping. All that repair and recovery happens while we sleep. So how can we get our healthy back? Well, first we want to change the environment in our bedroom. So what that means is you want room darkening shades, super important as the days are getting longer. You want your environment to be quite cool. So it is a challenge in the summer. If you don't have air conditioning, you need fans. You want to keep your windows open. And in the winter, same thing. You still want to cool your bedroom down. So a nice, cool bedroom so that everyone can sleep well. And one thing that is recommended, and this is Dr. Oz recommended, but it works, is to sleep naked with socks on. Now, if you sleep with pajamas on, that's fine, but put your socks on because a lot of people get woken up by their cold feet and they don't even know that that's what's waking them up. And I've had 3 people that have seen this seminar that have said to me, oh my gosh, you changed my sleep habits just by adding the socks. Okay, so before you go to sleep, your rituals in those 30 minutes before you go to sleep are super important. And what I recommend actually is setting a bedtime alarm. So Terry, who's going to try and get more sleep, what Terry's going to do is set a bedtime alarm. What that means is you're setting a bedtime alarm for 30 minutes before you actually want to go to sleep. Okay, so 30 minutes before you're going to go to sleep, your alarm's going to go off and you're going to start your bedtime rituals. And those rituals can be simple as brushing and flossing your teeth, reading a book, turning off your electronics and your television, doing a gratitude journal, listening to something inspirational. I love to listen to The Strangest Secret before I go to sleep, and then I do my gratitude journal, and I also do my affirmations. So all of these things set up your subconscious for a good, healthy sleep because you've got really good things in your mind. Whatever you think about before you go to sleep, your mind's going to stew on for the next 7 to 8 hours. So you might as well listen and read things and say things that are positive. That deep belly breathing I mentioned, really great to do lying in bed. 10 deep belly breaths will definitely help you relax and go to sleep. And starting earlier. As Sarah says, we definitely do not want to be up watching the news before we go to bed. My mom used to do that, and I couldn't understand. She'd watch CSI in the 11 o'clock news and then try to go to sleep. Like, I can't. I'm sorry, Mom. I love you, but I can't hang out with you to do this anymore. This was years ago. And then, so if you want to bring your bedtime even earlier, so what you do is say you go to bed at midnight right now. So what you're going to do is for the next week, you're actually going to set your bedtime alarm for 11:15, and with the aim of being lights out at 11:45. And you do that for a week. So every night you reduce your bedtime by every week, by 15 minutes, so that at the end of a month you've added an hour of sleep to your schedule. And now, because usually it's harder to change our wake-up time, we can actually, because usually we wake up because we have to be somewhere. So bringing back your bedtime, that's a simple way to do it. Now, if you look at a supplement recommendation, so again, the essentials, why? Because it is the foundation product for all adults. And then you're going to add our Active Calcium Plus or the chewable. I like the chewable before bed. It tastes really nice. And the magnesium and the calcium actually helps you to relax. It helps your muscles relax. And then the Pure Rest, which is the melatonin. Melatonin is the natural hormone that rises as we get ready for sleep. And using a melatonin supplement just under your tongue, it helps to just increase those natural melatonin levels so it's easier to fall asleep. It is not addictive. It is not a drug. You cannot become dependent on this. There's no withdrawal symptoms. So I actually use this combination and I sleep really, really well. Okay, next is our skin. And yes, we need to drink up. So here I go. So there are many challenges when it comes to our skin. Definitely, whether we have dry or oily patches, having that lack of tone and firmness is what can lead to wrinkles, which we're all trying to avoid. Conditions like acne, rosacea, eczema. I include our hair and our nails in it because that's a symptom of actually what's going on with our skin, whether our nails are brittle or strong, whether our hair is healthy and shiny. And it's definitely linked to self-image and self-esteem. So changing someone's skin can really, truly change someone's life. So how do you get your healthy back when it comes to skin? First, so much water. Your skin needs water. Those skin cells need water. Skin is your largest organ, so you have to remember that It's made up of cells, so you've got to treat the skin cells really, really well. Another thing you can do is reduce your alcohol and caffeine intake. So what I recommend is for every drink, alcoholic drink you have 1 glass of water, so one of a mason jar glass of water like this. And for every cup of coffee you have 2 of those because coffee can be very dehydrating. You can do dry skin brushing. I don't know if anybody's ever tried that, but there's a brush that you can get. It's usually got a long handle, and you just gently brush your skin in a circular motion towards your heart. Please do it in the shower, not while the shower is running, but we don't want to add really dust to our house because that's what dust is our skin cells sloughing off. But it just helps remove that top layer of skin very gently and stimulate the skin and helps with gentle detoxification as well. And when we're talking about detoxification, actually that can really help our skin. There is a caveat, however. For some people, because our skin is our largest organ, when they start a detox program, a gentle one like the 30-day whole body detox, it starts to actually come out through their skin. So they might break out at the beginning, have some acne. Some people may smell strongly. It does happen. Very few, like 10% maybe of our clients. Yeah, through your sweat, absolutely. But that's normal, and that's good. Your body's getting rid of toxins. And that's it. It is from the inside out. If something's going on in your skin, you have to remember that, yes, it's important to know what you're putting on your skin, but you also have to take a look at what you're taking inside, whether it's the food you're eating or the supplements you are or aren't taking. And personal care products, really key is that there's regulation for supplements, but for skincare, it is truly unregulated. So I could go in my bathroom and start making products, and I could sell them, and I could put the ingredients on it or not. It's just so poorly regulated. So you want to look for skincare that's not natural. Natural means nothing, by the way. That has no chemical preservatives, that's paraben-free, and that's actually pharmaceutical grade, and that's what USANA has. So the supplement recommendations, if skin is your #1 challenge, again, the essentials, because there are things in the essentials that are important for cellular health. So that has to be in there. Then our oils. Whether you have oily or dry skin, you need actually healthy fat for your skin cells. So the cell membranes are made from fat, and so they need healthy fat. So from the BioMega, that's the fish oil, and then you add the Optomega, the liquid vegan organic oil that tastes really good. I use it on all my salads. You can throw it in your smoothies. I love this stuff, and it makes a difference. Whenever I take the Optomega more, my hair is actually really, really curly. I straightened it for this, but my hair gets really, really curly, and my nails grow so, so quickly. I love that stuff. And Pro-Platinol Seeds back again. Told you we love this product. It is a facelift in the bottle because the vitamin C complex that we have actually helps plump up the collagen in your skin. And then finally, the Sanse skincare. So USANA has a pharmaceutical grade with chemical preservative-free skincare. It's actually a self-preserving technology. It's patented. So cool. It's safe enough to eat, which means it's safe enough to go on your skin because everything that goes on your skin goes into your body. It is very affordable. It's actually underpriced for what you get, and it's clinically proven to work. And I've been using it since 2006. It's so simple to use, and I know that it's made a difference. I'm wearing the teeniest bit of makeup. If you know me and you're watching this, you know that I don't wear very much makeup at all because I just don't need to. And it's such a blessing. You know, I got adult acne at age 30 and ended up using the Sanse and the supplements to help, you know, get rid of it, and it's gone. It's never come back. Number 4 is sexy movement. This is the reality for a lot of people, though. We don't have time to exercise. We're too tired. We need to get more sleep, number 2. We have aches and pains, so it's hard to exercise. It's not any fun to work out. Okay, but why do we need to? Why is this a pillar? It's so important. One is it's going to improve our insulin sensitivity, and we're going to learn about the glycemic index and our insulin in the next part. And our heart is a muscle. You have to work out your heart because it's actually a muscle, so it's important to get that heart moving. It's also really good for maintaining weight. So for people that, someone starts a weight loss program, if they have a considerable amount of weight to lose and they've been inactive, they will lose weight just by exercising. But very soon they will plateau because what happens is it's 80 to 90%, in my opinion, what goes into your mouth, so your food and your supplements, and then 10 to 20% exercise. So exercise is great for maintaining weight, but it's not necessarily key in losing weight. It is, however, really good for trimming and toning. That's a great opportunity to work with a personal trainer to help you. If you want to trim and tone, a personal trainer is definitely someone you want to get in touch with. We have lots of personal trainers on our team and in our organization if you needed a referral. It's a natural high. Runner's high is a real thing. As a former Ironman, I know how that feels. It definitely helps fight depression because of those happy chemicals that are released in our brain when we exercise, and it helps create a sense of community. So how do we get our healthy back for exercise? So the goal for exercise is to actually be moving 5 to 6 times per week. Now, if you're inactive right now, please start with 1 to 2 times a week and work your way up to 5 to 6 times a week in about 3 months. That's realistic. Not showing up at the gym, going 5 days in a row and then never going again. It's not going to work that way. Setting a goal is great. You want to do a 5K. Maybe you have a specific charity you want to support. They've got a 5K run or walk that you can do. You can do some hiking. I have neighbors who've been hiking the Bruce Trail all the way from Niagara back to Burlington where I live. So they do a section every weekend. Go for a certification, become a spinning instructor, yoga instructor, whatever you like. And then with each session, really for most people, 30 to 60 minutes is more than enough time unless you're training for an endurance event. Spending 2 hours at the gym for most people, A, is not enough time for that, and B, you're just not getting, like, unless you're working with a trainer, even then no one pays a trainer for 2 hours. So 60 minutes is more than enough for most people. And a moderate exercise, so walking is actually a fantastic way to exercise, and during the summer months, it obviously gets you outside. A moderate level of walking with short, intense bursts will really work your heart muscle really, really well. So you do a little bit of a warm-up, then you walk quickly for maybe 30 to 60 seconds, so get your heart rate going, and then you walk slowly again for a couple minutes, and a short burst again, and then a couple walks. So maybe you're doing 3 to 4 short bursts during your walk, and that's in a 20, 30-minute walk, no problem. So it's a great way to do a very simple exercise, increase your heart rate very, very easily and without having to worry about even timing. You can just do it from this telephone pole to like 3 telephone poles. Just do those little short bursts. And if we were live, I would tell everyone to stand up and I would see you stand up. So I'm going to encourage you, though, to stand up in front of your computer. I can't because I would no longer be on the webcam. But now, unfortunately, I'm sure you've heard about this, is that anybody who works in a sedentary job where you're sitting all day, even if you ran 5 kilometers a day, you would not be able to undo the damage that happens when we sit. There's so many things that are not good when we sit. So the way to avoid that if you're at a sedentary job is this. If you drink lots of water, you'll have to visit the washroom often, so you'll be getting up on a regular basis. Find something you love. There are so many ways to move. I mean, there's pole dancing, there's beach volleyball, there's soccer, there's walking, there's spin classes, there's Zumba, there's step classes, I don't know, there's just so many things you can do. There's bar classes. Whatever floats your boat, just find something you like and give it a chance. You know, sometimes it might take 2 or 3 times for an activity to be enjoyable, especially if it's new to you. So give it a chance. You know, if you go to your first Zumba class and you're totally lost, that's normal. Give it a month because it'll probably take you a month. And if after a month you're like, this really isn't my thing, well, that's okay. Find something else, but just give it some time. And I do recommend including a yoga, Tai Chi, or Pilates only because those are all very mindful and they help you to learn about your body. And the more we learn about our body and how it moves and where our muscles are, and there's just such a disconnect I find for a lot of people, like understanding that what you put in your mouth affects how you feel, how your muscles work, how everything's connected. So something like yoga, Tai Chi, or Pilates can really, really help with that. So the supplement recommendations, if it's about movement for you, if you are a moderate exerciser, we're going to start with the foundation products again of the Essentials, and then we're going to add the Biomega, the fish oil, because it's anti-inflammatory. So I recommend everybody, regardless of how little or how much they move, use both of those. And then I mentioned Procosa for joint pain. So this is a joint formula that has glucosamine, which is very much, there's a lot of research to show how good it is for joints. But USANA also uses curcumin, which is the extract from turmeric, the yellow spice that we see in a lot of Indian cooking. And what it actually does, it's packaged in a way that gets right to the joint that is inflamed and that needs the help. So this Procosa can actually make a difference for people in as little as 5 days. It says up to 4 weeks on the bottle. It's clinically proven to help with arthritis pain in 4 weeks. I've seen a number of clients within a few days it makes a difference for them, and it can be life-changing. So, I would definitely consider Procosa for yourself or for somebody else if you are in a lot of pain and that's keeping you from exercising. Now, if you're really active, if you're working out every day, if you're training for a half marathon, triathlon, all that, you want to get on the health pack. Definitely, because unfortunately, the more we exercise, the more stress we have on our cells, so the more antioxidants we need. And that's also why I'm going to include the Profavanol C100 again as an antioxidant. Just mops up those free radicals really, really well and helps with recovery as well. Especially if you're injured or recovering from surgery, Profavanol C100, you got to get that stuff and you got to take a lot of it. Okay, number 5 is simple nutrition. This could be an entire hour seminar in itself, so I'm just going to share with you my principles when it comes to simple nutrition. So what is the reality for a lot of people? We don't have time. We have cravings that we can't control. We need a quick fix, and we're so uninspired in the kitchen. And we have bad habits that we cannot break. And I know Mike, who was at my live seminar a couple weeks ago, he shared some of his bad habits that he had not been able to break, and he's really incredibly come very, very far in like 35 days. And this is the thing, is you can change if you're ready to change. So for me, simple nutrition is about low glycemic whole foods, about eating good fats and adequate protein, and getting lots of fiber, paying attention to sensitivities, and little or no refined sugar. So we're going to go into each of these on their own. So you may or may not be familiar with the glycemic index, and I'm just going to review just in case. So what the glycemic index is, it's an indication of how quickly your blood sugar rises when you actually eat a food, a carbohydrate. So foods like white potatoes, white rice, like jasmine rice, most spreads and cereals, when you eat them, spike your blood sugar, the red curve, really, really quickly. And what your body does to respond to that is it floods your body with insulin, because insulin is actually going to reduce our blood sugar. And so what happens when we spike our blood sugar, the body sort of overcompensates. So it sends out a ton of insulin, and we drop into the bottom range there. You can see where the red line goes really, really low. And we get into this point where we have zero willpower. It's actually one of our most, caveman-like reflexes, where our body's like, we need energy. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We need carbohydrates. We got to have blood sugar back up. We're in danger. We're in danger. So then when someone walks in the office with the box of Krispy Kreme, you're like, no, I really shouldn't have that. And then 2 minutes later, you're stuffing 3 in your mouth. And you're like, what happened? Where'd the donuts go? And you have no idea what happened, but you actually start to feel better. You're like, oh, so much better now. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, oh, I feel gross because I ate all those donuts. But that's kind of what happens in our mind. So it's this reflex that makes us eat carbohydrates that we don't really want. Now, when we eat a food that raises our blood sugar slowly, which is most vegetables, many fruits, things like lentils and beans, and many whole grains, brown rice, our blood sugar is going to raise nice and slowly, and our body's going to compensate, and we're going to get back to normal very, very quickly. That's what we want. So this is what you're aiming for. Nice wave all day. You're never really starving. You're getting the food that you need, and you feel pretty good. You don't get hangry, as my husband would like to say. This is the blood sugar of most people, and this is actually what I was like before I found out that I was actually eating a high glycemic diet. So it's pretty brutal. You don't want to live like this. It's really hard on your body. And so 80 to 95% of carbohydrates that adults and children are consuming in North America are high glycemic. Our breakfast foods are the worst. Muffins, bagels, donuts, cereal, toast, many types of oatmeal. All of these things are spiking our blood sugar, and that's the way that we're starting our day. So that's a really horrible way to actually start your day, by spiking your blood sugar. And when we focus on low glycemic foods, they're going to keep us feeling fuller longer. They're not going to spike our blood sugar, or they're not going to make us have too much insulin. So veggies, as I mentioned, quinoa is really good. Steel cut oats. So steel cut oats, low glycemic. Quick oats, moderate glycemic. instant oats, high glycemic. So you can see there's a difference even between a food. The more processed it gets, the higher their glycemic index. So when we eat like this for years, we end up with a lot of issues. And this is really where when you see someone who has a lot of belly fat and they can't get rid of it, it's likely because of eating this way, because when we have too much insulin in our body and we're not using it, it actually gets stored as fat in our belly. And that's when it will lead to insulin resistance. That means our body can no longer, it becomes deaf to its own insulin. So it just keeps giving us more and more insulin, and our body's just not, our blood sugar's not going down quickly enough, and we just aren't hearing the signals to reduce, get our blood sugar back down. Definitely carb and sugar addicts, having no energy, crashing in the afternoon. I used to work for Hershey. You guys know Hershey, they make chocolate. I was training for my first Ironman, so I was like, yeah, I can eat as much. It doesn't really matter if I have a chocolate bar every single day. We had free chocolate. Not a good thing. So thank goodness I was training for Ironman, or I would actually have been probably very big. And it was brutal. I had no energy. I would eat the chocolate with a Diet Coke in the afternoon for my energy. Yep, it was bad. Okay, so I've learned my lesson. And this is my story. So I had done 2 Ironman triathlons. Switzerland was my second, and I never lost a pound. I was like, well, this is my size. You know, I've been a size 10 medium my whole life, or my whole adult life. And if I've done training for 2 Ironmans and I've never lost a pound, it's obviously the size I'm meant to be, and I'm okay with it. And then I did USANA's 5-day reset program, which is a 5-day program that helps get rid of carb and sugar cravings, and it helps to reset your blood sugar levels. The average weight loss is 4.5 pounds. I did the program after Ironman Switzerland, in between my 2 races. I wasn't really training, and I said I'll do it because it's one of the programs. I just started my business. I'm like, I'm going to try this reset thing. And I lost 4.5 pounds. I was like, great, 4.5 pounds. I'm going to gain it all back because I can't lose weight. And lo and behold, when I got off the carb cravings and changed my habits to low glycemic eating, I lost 20 pounds in 12 weeks. And then started training for Ironman number 3. And as you can see, the Ironman Arizona picture, I was much, much smaller. And 20 pounds in an Ironman, let me tell you, it's a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike, finished with a full 42.2 kilometer marathon. It's like carrying a 20-pound backpack that I didn't have to carry. So it really made a huge difference for me. And now I'm that size. I'm a small and a size 6. And I never imagined in my life that I would be a small. I was a 10 and a medium. That's what I was. So now I've been this way for, I guess, 7 years, with the exception of when I had my daughter. And I have one wardrobe. I have one set of clothing that I wear all the time. I don't have different sizes of stuff. This is just where I stay. My weight fluctuates a little bit during the winter, like a lot of you. We all tend to gain a little over the winter because it's harder to keep our habits up when the weather is atrocious. One of the reasons I do the 30-day whole body detox every year. But I just have one set of clothing. And I just share this with you to know that, like, if you're like me and you're exercising all the time and you're not getting to where you need to be with your weight, it might have to do with this low glycemic eating. Okay, so the next part of simple nutrition is good fat. So I grew up in a time where fat was bad, and they took fat out of everything and replaced it with sugar. Yay! Sugar is so much worse for us. So learning to eat healthy fats was definitely something that I had to get my head around. I now love eating avocado, olive oils. I cook with coconut oil. You can cook with grapeseed oil as well. And nuts and seeds with a small handful. Please don't put out a whole bowl of nuts and seeds, because even though they're really good for you, they are high caloric. I don't worry about calories. I don't count calories. But you can undo a lot of good work by eating a bag full of almonds. A handful of 12 to 14 is a good snack. So you need to eat good fat to lose weight. I know it sounds bizarre, but your body needs proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and fiber. You need all of them to live, and your cells need fat, as I mentioned before. Okay, protein. Let's talk about protein for a little bit. So the challenge with protein is that we seem to be in a society now where we need all this protein. And it's just not true. They did a study, and I know who they, but I watched it. I cannot cite the source at this time. I apologize. But there was a study that showed that whether you are a self-declared carnivore, omnivore, vegetarian, or vegan, everyone got more than twice the recommended protein intake in a day, which is 40 grams. Now, if you're training for a weightlifting or bodybuilding competition, or you're a heavy lifter, by all means, extra protein. But for the rest of us, it's not really necessary. So why protein is important? We do need it. It helps to slow down, reduce the glycemic index of a meal. A palm-sized portion of lean meat is really, really good. But you can get so much good protein from other sources, from nuts and seeds and beans and quinoas and eggs and fish. There's so many good options. Just sort of learn where your food comes from. You know, when you're choosing fish or chicken or meat, just learn where it comes from so you can make better choices for you and your family. There's lots of options now that you can get healthy sources of meat. So even though I'm a vegetarian, my family doesn't eat. We try and eat a lot of organically fed meat as well. But there's a lot to be said about the way animals are treated. And, you know, if I think if everybody just moves towards a more plant-based lifestyle, you don't have to become a vegetarian or vegan, but I think our planet would benefit from more plant-based lifestyle for the majority of people. Fiber. This, however, is a problem. So in the same study, 97% of people in North America got less than half the required fiber per day. We need 30 grams of fiber a day. Most people get about 15. So this is hugely important for digestion and hugely important for our gut. So if you are not getting fiber, both soluble and insoluble, both are necessary. So the soluble one is the one that forms like a gel and really helps slow down that gastric emptying. So again, keeping your blood sugar levels under control. And the insoluble fiber is the one that adds the bulk and helps to prevent constipation. So both are really important in different quantities. And you can get it from great sources of food: oats, apples, the full apple, not the juice, but the apple with the skin, lentils and beans, cucumbers, celery, onions. There's just so many. I mean, just search fiber, insoluble and soluble. You get tons of suggestions. I love USANA's Fiber G product because it actually is a simple way to add fiber to your diet. It's a plant-based source. It's gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, and soy-free. So it's great for everybody. I put it every morning in my smoothie because I like a green smoothie to start the day. I digest it really well, and it works for me. And fiber in this house, we're all good. My 4-year-old as well. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about sensitivities. So many people will find that they do have sensitivities when it comes to wheat and gluten. And the reason I recommend looking at a program like the 30-day whole body detox is because many people will feel good when they take wheat and gluten out of their diet. They'll have more energy, they'll be more alert, their brain isn't as foggy. And so it's something I suggest you try for 30 days. And then after that, you slowly reintroduce them to see how you feel. If you feel like you may have celiac disease, which is where you cannot digest gluten at all, it actually causes an inflammatory response in your body, please see your doctor and get tested before taking gluten out of your diet. As for dairy, I recommend that you just think about how much dairy is in your life, because we are the only mammal that drinks the milk of another mammal, and we're the only mammal that drinks milk after infancy. So do we need dairy in our life? I'm not so sure. So there's very little dairy that comes into this house, occasionally cheese, but really not much. My daughter doesn't drink milk. She just grows up, she drinks water. And that works for us. So just pay attention to how much dairy is in your life. If you know someone who's always clearing their throat, for example, it's because they've got phlegm from dairy. As for soy, soy is so controversial. There are studies that show the benefits of soy. There are studies that show the negative effects of soy. So here's what I say. I will never force my clients to eat soy. I choose to have some soy in my diet because I like edamame. I like actual soybean. And I'm a vegetarian, so I do enjoy tofu or tempeh. Not a lot, though. In moderation from non-genetically modified sources is really, really important. And if you, for example, if you replaced milk and you were drinking a liter of milk a day with a liter of soy milk, especially if you're a man, that could cause problems. Yes, absolutely. There is an estrogen-related factor to do with soy because it's an estrogen-like product. But the thing is, we don't know, because a lot of studies show that it actually is beneficial for women and some that shows that it's not. So soy, like it, have it. Get non-GMO sources. Don't like it, don't want it, don't have it. Not a big deal. And sugar. Sugar, sugar, sugar. It is virtually impossible to get all of the refined sugar out of your diet, but if you can reduce it substantially, so it's hiding in so many packaged foods today, it's everywhere you look, pay attention, okay? I don't really worry about the amount of sugar in my diet because there isn't very much. So my daughter has some sugar in her diet. She knows which foods have sugar in them, and she knows that those are limited in our house. But if you are eating a lot of packaged and processed foods, you'll see that there's sugar in everything, and that's why the 30-day whole body detox is really, really good to help you be aware of how much sugar is in your diet. So how do you get your healthy back when it comes to food? Okay, we're aiming for 5 to 6 small meals a day, so snacks are really important. Eating every 3 hours, keeping your blood sugar levels in that nice little wave that you saw. Okay, it's really important. When you have a snack or a meal, remember I said there are 4 things that are essential: a low glycemic carbohydrate, a source of protein, an essential fatty acid, and fibers. So it sounds complicated, but an apple with almond butter covers all those bases. So you've got your apple is a low glycemic carbohydrate and it has fiber, and your almond butter is a protein and a fat at the same time. So it's not actually as complicated as it sounds. Do change your breakfast choices. If you can get off a high glycemic breakfast, that can change your life. Some people will lose weight just by changing their breakfast choices. I do recommend looking at USANA's Nutrimeal product if you have trouble with breakfast because it's super easy. It's a complete meal replacement. It has proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and fiber, and vitamins and minerals. It's actually more complete than any meal that you could make yourself. And it tastes really, really good. And I make a smoothie and I add my greens to it, and I love it. That's how I start my day. I think we can all benefit from reducing gluten, wheat, sugar, dairy, and soy, and absolutely reducing our processed food intake. Clean out your kitchen. So if you want to make a change with your nutrition, get all the stuff out of your kitchen that's unhealthy. Put it in a garbage bag, throw it out. If it's still in a package, you can donate it if you like. Just get it out of sight, out of mind. You know, we just don't bring, like, gluten doesn't come into my house because I don't eat gluten, and so none of my family does either. So we just don't have that temptation there. You really, truly want to double your water intake. I mentioned water several times during this because it is truly so, so important. And finally, stop counting. Don't count your calories. Don't count your points. Just learn which foods nourish you. Learn which foods feel good on your digestion. We'll talk about that in a minute. Learn where to get good fiber and healthy sources of protein and all the good stuff that you eat. But don't worry about counting because life is too short to count calories. Okay, and our last section is smooth digestion. So some of the digestion challenges that I come across are bloating and stomach pain. These things are not normal. Bowel issues. So you should be eliminating twice, 2 to 3 times a day, usually after every meal. If you are going more than 3 times a day or you are going less than once a day, you have an issue, okay? So either end of the spectrum is not good. It is essential that you eliminate at least once a day. 2 to 3 times a day is even better. Having things like IBS and Crohn's, all of these things are related to our digestion. Heartburn, it weakens our immune system actually, and now they're even showing that because our digestive system is so related to our brain, we're showing benefits to actually taking care of our digestion to do with Alzheimer's and to do with depression. Crazy. And our skin issues, yes, very much so. Intolerances to food can show up in your skin. So let's just talk a little bit about healthy digestion, what you can do to actually get rid of, I'll start again. Healthy digestion starts with chewing your food. So if you haven't seen the seminar before, how many times do you think we should be chewing our food before we swallow it? Anybody want to take a guess? No one's guessing. Yeah, Mike, you've seen it before. Mike says 30. He's right. 35 for Dieter. Okay, so yes, over 20 would be amazing. Most people chew 2 or 3 times. So here's the thing. You only have teeth here. Once it goes past here, there are no more teeth. So here's what happens. You eat a kale salad, and the kale is super healthy, but you only chew your kale piece 2 or 3 times. So it gets down to your stomach. Your stomach acid, which is probably diluted because you drank water during your meal, cannot break down the kale into the parts that can be seen in your small intestine as nutrients. So what happens is the kale just ends up coming out the other side, and you're like, why are there little bits of kale in my toilet? Because you're not absorbing your food properly. So you may be eating super healthy, but you might not even be absorbing everything. If your gut isn't working properly, you can have the healthiest diet in the world and it's also coming out the other end. So chewing your food is super, super important. Take some time to breathe and chew your food. Taking care of our liver. So the liver is really connected to our digestion because there's so much that happens in the liver. There's so much that can affect the liver. And we want to take care of it. And we're going to talk a little bit about liver loaders when we talk about the 30-day whole body detox program. As for food sensitivities, so things like being sensitive to wheat or to gluten, especially gluten, and dairy, gluten can really inflame our digestive tract if we're sensitive to it. So it can actually cause issues in the little villi of our digestive tract. There can be spaces in our intestine, which is not supposed to happen. So molecules of gluten will get into our bloodstream, which is not good, which is why we have something called grain brain. So that's another reason why it's important to find out which foods you are sensitive to. Definitely lots of water, and I mentioned a little bit about water during your meals. So here's the thing. Digestion actually starts before you actually eat. So when you sit down in front of a meal and you take a moment to look at your food, and you actually should start to salivate. And that salivation tells your stomach, hey, food's coming. Let's make sure our acid is actually where it needs to be. If you drink water before you eat, you're going to dilute that stomach acid and you're going to make it even harder for your stomach to properly dissolve what you've eaten. And if you chew it only a couple times, your poor stomach has no chance. And of course, the fiber. We talked about the essential 30 grams of fiber a day. Like I said, most people are not getting any, even close to half of that. And it actually is a leading cause of many degenerative diseases. You have to eliminate properly. Time we started talking about poop more. So how can you get your healthy back? Are some simple things you can do right now if digestion is your biggest issue? Have a mealtime ritual. Doesn't have to be fancy, can be really simple. Just giving thanks for your food. If you already prayed before your meal, I got a great book. It's called The Grateful Table, and it's 365 days of being grateful at the table. And every day there's a different quote that you can read before your meal. Just breathing before you eat, sitting down, not in front of the television. Just sit and eat and have a conversation with someone. More water intake. This comes up a lot, this water thing. This is for you, Sarah. Drinking more water. More movement, back to number 4. So when you actually move, it literally helps things move and digest. So that's why after that big turkey dinner, instead of lying on the couch, get the family outside to go for a walk around the block so that you can start moving and getting things moving along. You got I think it's 37 feet of stuff inside you, so it's got a long way to go. So you want to make sure that things are actually moving. Reducing those liver loaders is really key. So things like alcohol, caffeine, prescription medication, over-the-counter medication, toxins in life, all of that stuff, really, really important to learn that these things are affecting our liver. And the reason is that for the liver, something like alcohol has to be processed immediately. And so what happens is if we have a lot of these liver loaders in our life, our liver can't do its job properly. So our liver also is a place where we manufacture cholesterol and we process estrogen so that these fat-soluble hormones actually get eliminated from our bodies. And if our liver is loaded with alcohol, caffeine, toxins in our water, medications, all that stuff, it's just firefighting all day long. It's just taking care of the things it has to take care of. And things like cholesterol and estrogen, which naturally need to be eliminated from our body, and the liver has to help us do that, it doesn't happen. So we end up with higher cholesterol levels, we end up with our estrogen levels all out of balance, and it all leads back to our liver. So that's why paying attention to what you're eating, what you're drinking, how you're digesting can also help your liver. And learning trigger foods. So if you have heartburn all the time after you eat, find out what it is that's causing that heartburn. Pay attention. Okay, what did I eat that caused that heartburn? For me, it's raw onions. I went out for lunch today. I had a wonderful lunch. There were raw onions somewhere in that. And I was like, is there raw onion in here? I didn't ask. And I was unwell for the next 5 hours. So I have to really, really now be more strict when I eat out to really ask, are there any raw onions or garlic in this? Because I can't. It makes me feel unwell for 5 to 6 hours after a meal. So I've learned that really the hard way. Okay, So we're going to wrap this up with the 30-day whole body detox, which maybe some of you have been waiting for the whole call. I don't know, but here it is. So the 4th edition this year. Now, I am the founder of this program. This is just from me last year. So I've done this program every year with my clients, 2012, 13, 14, and now 2015. And last year was the worst year for me. I had developed a sugar addiction over the winter. You may remember that 2 winters ago, not only was it the coldest winter on record to date at the time, but the snow, we were like buried in our homes. And I just developed a ridiculous sugar addiction to these things called Eggies, which are the Hershey's version of mini eggs. And I would eat a bag a day. And a bag is like a bag. It's not like a chocolate bar. It's about the equivalent of 3 chocolate bars. And it was awful. And I was so addicted to them that my daughter, who at the time was 3, would like expect that I would come home with a bag of eggs so she could have some. So my daughter was addicted to sugar because of my habits. It was awful. And this is what I do for a living. And I got caught in this sugar addiction trap. I didn't know how deep I was in until 14 days into the plan last year. 14 days later, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like myself again. And I had forgotten what it felt like to feel good. I had forgotten what I felt like. It was so crazy. So I want you to know that like how you feel right now, you might think is your best, but there might be like another level of how good you can feel when you do a program like this. And the story behind it really was, I met this incredible woman. Her name is Dr. Libby Weaver. She is fantastic. Please Google Dr. Libby and watch her TED Talk. I got to meet her. I got to drive her to an event, and we were chatting in the car, and I was talking about my digestion. And she said, Julia, I really think that you need to eliminate gluten from your diet. And I was like, no, but I didn't say that. I said, yes, Dr. Levy, that sounds great. And I was like, no, please don't take my gluten. I'm a vegetarian. And in 2012, like gluten-free didn't exist. And it wasn't a fad like it is now. And so it was a really different time and people didn't understand what I was doing. But I designed this program with a holistic nutritionist and a naturopath at the time because I wanted to make sure that not only was I doing my experience, but using obviously other experts to put it together. So we created a gluten-free, dairy-free program, 30-day detox. It was 12 pages PDF the first year, and we probably had about 20 people that did it. And during that time, I found out 2 things. One is that I am extremely intolerant to gluten. For me, it's very, very inflammatory, and I can have symptoms within a few hours, and I can have digestive upset very, 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 very quickly. So for me, gluten, it turns out, it's not even something I can cheat with. So some people, gluten has a different effect. If they just have 1 serving, it's not a big deal. But for other people, and it doesn't cause bloating for me, it just causes inflammation, pain, and digestive upset. Other people, though, gluten causes massive, massive bloating. I know Sarah's going to mention that for her. That's been an issue to get rid of bloat for Sarah. And you can see it. She's now been gluten-free for 6 months or 5 months, and she is amazing. And it affects your memory. It affects your brain. So not everybody's like this, but you might as well find out if you are. So ask yourself this, do I need this program? And guess what? We've got groups starting next week again. So this is June, and we've still got people that want to start, and we've got people that want to do it in July. So I always recommend this program is best for the spring. Absolutely. It is harder to do in the summer. It gets even more challenging in the fall, and I do not let you do this in the winter. If you're watching this recording and you want to do it in the winter, you have to wait till at least the middle of March to start. Because it's so hard for your body to detox in the winter. It just doesn't want to. It wants to hibernate. So it's not going to happen. So ask yourself right now, how do you feel? So if you have digestive issues that are unresolved, if you feel bloated every time you eat, if you have frequent colds or you catch every flu that goes around, if your energy is low, you have unwanted pounds that just will not disappear, you're in a bit of a brain fog, you have trouble remembering things, and you have a lack of motivation. Very interesting. Okay, Valerie, well, we should keep talking then. Why you want to do this program? These are just some of the benefits, but it really is a life-changing program. And I look at the people that have been on this program for many years, and every year we do it, it's so much easier to do because we've made changes that stick throughout the year. And yes, you'll fall off the wagon with some things, but you will likely sleep better. Your digestion will be improved. Your cellular nutrition will be optimized. So let's talk about the program. What are things to avoid? I'm going to pause the recording for just. Okay, so let's get back to the program. So what are things you want to avoid during the program? Well, first of all, we want to avoid those liver bloaters. So we're getting rid of alcohol and caffeine for 30 days. You can do it. We will support you, I promise. If you are scared, if you don't want to give up your glass of wine, that's why you need to do this program. Red meat is there because red meat takes a long time for us to digest, so we just want to eliminate it for 30 days because we're focusing on digestion, but you can still eat fish and chicken and poultry. Wheats, of course, dairy products, of course, and refined sugar. There are a few dessert recipes that include dark chocolate. So you do actually get to have a few treats along the way if you need to, if you're going to an event and you need to bring a dessert. But no, you're not meant to have dessert every single night. And the recipes are delicious. Now, the thing is, there's so many beautiful things you can include. You know, when people talk about taking dairy and gluten out of their diet, they kind of get scared. Oh my gosh, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? Let me tell you, there are so many wonderful foods that you can eat, so many great recipes that you can prepare, and it tastes so, so good. You actually get an 80-page recipe and guidebook that has leaders in health and nutrition that are sharing their recipes and their tips, including our beautiful Olinka Trejo here. She is a naturopathic doctor. She has been with this program since the beginning. Linda Heredia, who is a registered holistic nutritionist who has contributed so much to the program in the last few years. Erica Mattia, who is a chiropractor. Elizabeth Ryder, actually she's published through the Huffington Post as well. She's a leader in health and nutrition. Leanne Jacobs also has over 10 years of experience in health and nutrition. Our newest partners are juicing gurus, Rebecca and Dieter, who wrote Juice Your Way to Health. And if you're from the Burlington area, you might recognize Kelly and Aaron from Kelly's Bake Shop, who have contributed several recipes to the book. So, guess what? Today is the launch of the Kindle version of our 30-day whole body detox recipe and guidebook. So, if you have not purchased your book, it's only 99 cents in Canada and only 79 cents in the US. If you don't have a Kindle, it doesn't matter. You can actually look at it from your laptop. You can download the Kindle app to your tablet, to your phone. So even if you don't have a Kindle, it doesn't matter. Sarah, you can just download the Kindle app for your iPad and you can take your iPad into the kitchen and watch it. It's only 99 cents, so the price will go up tomorrow. And what's really, really amazing is actually in Australia, so it's already tomorrow in Australia, but today in Australia we hit 7 #1 bestsellers. In Canada, I don't know if Dieter has been checking, but we've actually done really, really well in Canada as well. We're actually in the top book. So not just in top Kindle, but we're in top books as well. So amazing. I would really love if you guys can, if you can help us get there. It's incredible. We're in top 100 books in all of Canada. We've actually been hitting lists in the U.S. as well, which is amazing because the U.S. market is so much harder. So thank you so much to everyone who's already bought their book. I really appreciate it. We're so, it's so exciting to launch a book. If you're watching the recording, the book will be more expensive. It's going to be $4.99 after the launch. We'll have different promos throughout the year, just so you know, but just be aware that today is the promo price and it will go up. Okay, so we are super, super excited. The book is just doing so well. And guess what? People get to make these amazing recipes and learn more about the program. And it's great credibility for our brand as well. So what do you get? So when you enroll for the program, you get, not only do you get the book, you get a PDF version for free. You get menu plans. You get grocery lists. You get tips for eating out. You learn how to juice with a blender because we have a new juicing section. And if you don't have a juicer, no problem. You can make them with your blender. Your weekly preparation sheet. You get access to a private Facebook group where there's over 100 people now that have been doing the detox program this year, and you get support from a program coach on a weekly basis. So you get so much value for what you invest. And when you invest in the detox program, there are USANA products that go with it. So I'm just reading what Dieter wrote. So it says that myself and all of our contributing authors who I mentioned before, we are now officially international #1 best-selling authors for this book. This is so exciting, guys. So if you're watching the recording and you missed the excitement of the day of, no worries, it'll be posted on our Facebook page. So the products that go with the program If you're doing the foundation program, it's going to include the essentials, okay? If you're already taking the USANA Health Pack, no worries. You can continue to take that. You don't need to switch to the essentials, but the way it's spelled, it's on the essentials. You get a bag of the NutriMeal Free, which is a plant-based protein. It is gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and fructose-free. It's delicious, mild vanilla flavor, and it's great for making many of the recipes in the book. You get a choice between the BioMega, the fish oil, or the OptoMega, the vegan oil. I recommend the fish oil if possible because it is just that much better in terms of being anti-inflammatory. And then we have USANA's probiotic, which we have not talked about yet. It is the 2 most popular strains of probiotics that actually repopulate all of the other strains in your body. So it's really, really effective, and it's a powder that you can just pour down your throat and chase with water or just sprinkle on top of your shake. And then HEPA Plus, which is a liver support supplement that actually supports healthy liver function. So not only are you removing all the liver loaders when you're doing this program, you actually are helping the health of your liver. And then if you want to do the Ultimate program, that's available this time as well. So you're going to get everything you see here. The optional thing here is the Rev 3 powder. So that's actually if you're like, please don't take away my coffee, you can use Rev 3, which is a clean source of caffeine from green tea, white tea, and black tea. It has rhodiola and Korean ginseng for reducing inflammation and for actually improving mental clarity. New this year, if you've done the program before, there are 60 new recipes, 2 brand new chapters, tips from our amazing juicing gurus, and the expanded coaches program. So if you're not already a program coach and you'd like to become one, please check it out. And of course, the Kindle version of the book that launched today. So here's where you can find more info about this program. We have a website. It's very thorough and very complete. Coaches info is there. You can actually enroll right on the site. There's an order now. And if you had someone refer you to this program, you can actually put their name there. We have a Facebook page where we update on a regular basis. And if you're on Instagram, you can check out our hashtag. So just to wrap things up, what do you need to focus on first? So here are just to review the pillars of success. So stress management, soothing sleep, sensual skin, sexy movement, simple nutrition, and smooth digestion. So what do you need to focus on first? And if it's the 30-day whole body detox, fantastic. We'd love to support you through that program. But whatever your pillar is, if you need to know what products are the best, please send me a message on Facebook or connect with the person who invited you tonight because we can actually send you a form that has the information. So I'm going to wrap it up now. I will stop the recording at this time. I will open it, however, to questions if anybody has any on the webinar. So thank you so much, everybody, for sharing everything with us tonight. And if you're watching the recording, please find us on Facebook. I'm actually going to go back to that page to end the recording.